You're Perp back with another video, and shout outs to Amazon Prime because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't got around to seeing this movie. I'm glad that I actually went to see this. You know, this was going to be a movie that I was going to end up skipping because when I first initially saw those first trailers, I was like, Dungeons and Dragons, I'm not really a fan of the game. I've never played it. I just know my knowledge from, Stranger Things and other media that has referenced D&D, but I've never been interested in it. Like, I know people, other content creators that are really heavy into that content. So just seeing those initial trailers, I really had no expectations or even any interest in seeing this, but with Amazon Prime, I was able to see this movie early. They also have another early screening next weekend. You'll probably be able to get a little bit more shows. They only had like 1-2 o'clock show today. But yeah, this movie doesn't come out till like the 31st. So yeah, you get to see this super early, which is a good sign. And I see why. And when I went to the theater that I normally go to, it was pretty much packed. I really had a great time in this movie with all the other people watching. It was damn near sold out. So that kind of gives you a clue on how this is probably going to do in the box office. I definitely think that it's going to have good word of mouth, but I'm not going to spoil anything in this review, like I said, because this movie is nowhere near release. So I'm just going to kind of give you my first impressions. And like I said, I really enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would. Just the atmosphere and just the world of D&D is interesting because it's like a combination of everything fantasy that I've seen, like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragons, it has Lord of the Ring elements, Chronicles of Narnia, a little bit of Harry Potter with the magic and stuff like that. And there are scenes. There's like one in particular scene that kind of reminded me of a little bit of Star Wars, with this sword fight. So it was interesting just seeing this whole entire world, and this is what I kind of like about certain fantasy shows, that they really take advantage of the whole fantasy surrounding. Like, we go to all these different places on the map, or our characters go through so many different adventures or quests. So speaking about the story, because I want to kind of get into that. We have Chris Pine. I almost said Chris Pratt, but he is pretty much the leader. He's the Robin Hood of this group. I like how they give us the backstory and just how he met all these different characters. Like, what's her name? Michelle Rodriguez's character. I think her name's Helga or Olga. She's kind of like a warrior, really badass. This is a stereotypical role for Michelle Rodriguez. Don't expect anything groundbreaking or her to expand on her range, because she never really does, but she still has people that are fans of her, and she does enough to make you give a fuck about her characters. Same with like characters like Simon that you see. He's kind of like the sorcerer wizard, not that great at casting spells, but he ends up kind of getting through that. We have this one chick, I'm drawing a blank on her name, but she is the owl bear, which she's really cool because she not only turns into that, but she can shape shift into other things. So they kind of give you the whole backstory on Chris Pratt's character Ed, and how he got into the situation he gotten himself into by helping out this dark wizard, or this red wizard. And the person that they originally had their OG crew with, somebody snaked them, and he pretty much made a deal with the devil to get power and get influence and whatnot, and even steals Ed's daughter, which is pretty much the gist of this whole entire story, where Ed is trying to make everything that he did wrong right between him and his daughter, because they've gotten splitting up because of certain decisions he decided to make. And I like that. And it's just very adventurous. This movie gets really creative, especially with the action scenes. The crowd had a lot of interesting reactions to a lot of different scenes. Like I said, I'm not a hardcore fan. I don't know a lot about D&D, but I know if people are huge fans of, the game and just playing that, I'm sure that certain creatures or something like that are certain callbacks. People can call those out very quickly. Me, I was just enjoying the ride, just the adventure aspect to this. It very much felt like some Indiana Jones, National Treasure type of stuff, where like the pacing is pretty damn good, I would say, for this being 2 hours long. I never felt really bored. I like that we kind of really get interesting backstories with all these different characters that they meet throughout their journeys. That was really cool. Setting things up to kind of make this a whole entire franchise. I'd be down to see a sequel to this because they definitely kind of leave it open. The villains, that's my only thing that like I could probably have a gripe with, is the villains are cool, but it's a little, she's kind of wasted. She goes by the name of Fiona, if I'm not mistaken, and she has kind of like this cool setup backstory, but it kind of falls flat, but it does make up for it for the third act, which I thought was pretty dope. The whole action scene that kind of played out there, and just the amount of heart that went into this. It's like I said, it when you first initially see the trailer, you're thinking like this is some goofy shit, but yeah, it is very silly at times, but I feel like it worked because, like I said, the crowd that I saw it with were really reactionary to a lot of scenes. A lot of people laughed, a lot of people even gasped at some parts. So yeah, definitely don't pass up on this. I would recommend seeing this for yourself, even if you're not a fan of D&D. I think you will find things to like about this if you like other things outside of outside of D&D, I should say, like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. There's like little tiny callbacks that kind of remind me of certain elements of those shows or movies of like Lord of the Rings. Like I said at the beginning of this, definitely would recommend checking this out. If you have seen this, let me know your thoughts of it in the comments below. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.